Hey guys, welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Kiara and I'm a full-time crochet business owner. So all of my videos are crochet or crochet business related. So I mostly sell crocheted plushies, but I do make the occasional hat or dishcloth or tops or anything like that. But I mostly make and sell plushies. I mostly sell those plushies at in-person events and markets, so in this video I will be sharing with you guys my top 10 best sellers at markets in 2024. So for every event that I do, I always write down every single sale, so I went through every single event I did in 2024 to get the numbers of the best sellers. So I literally have the amount of items I sold in 2024 at in-person events. And of course, I will be sharing with you guys my top 10 best sellers, but I also have the amount of those items that I sold in 2024. So I have all the actual statistics, all the numbers for you guys. So like I said, this is going to include every single market that I did in 2024. So I did a lot of events in 2024, but this is not going to count the items that I sold in consignment stores because I do sell my plushies in consignment stores, and it's not going to count the sales I made privately. Like let's say if someone messaged me and said, hey, I would like to buy this, and then if we met in person or something to make that sale, that's not going to count those items. And also my mom has done events for me where she lives with my plushies, so that's not going to count that either. That will just count the events that I personally did where I live, where I sold my plushies. So of course, before doing this whole breakdown of literally every single item I sold at markets in 2024, I had a pretty good idea of what my best sellers were, but the numbers did surprise me for certain items, and there are a few items that I'm not sure I would have put in my top 10 sellers without actually doing the breakdown. So I was surprised by a few of these items that did end up in my top 10 sellers, and there was a few things that I thought would be in my top 10 sellers that weren't. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys. So before we get right into it, I will just share with you guys my general location, because location can affect best sellers in certain areas. So I am in Ontario, Canada, so all my prices are in Canadian dollar. So I will obviously share with you guys my top 10 best sellers, but I will also share with you guys how much I sold those items for. So I just wanted to let you guys know my location because that can affect what sells, what doesn't sell. Different things are going to sell in different locations. And I also wanted to share with you guys that my prices are in Canadian dollar. So if you're using a different currency, you might look at that and say, that's a bit odd, that's a bit much, that's not much. You know, just to let you guys know my location and the currency that I use, just to give you guys that information before we get started. So of course, I will be sharing with you guys the best sellers, and I will tell you guys how much I sell these items for where I am. It doesn't mean that you have to sell the item for the same price. I'm just sharing with you guys how much I sell them for, and I will put a picture of that item up here. And also I will share with you guys if there's a pattern to use. Chances are it's my own pattern or I freehand them, but if they are inspired by someone else's pattern or idea, I will share that with you guys. But I don't actually use other patterns because I just freehand things. But I will let you guys know if there's a pattern you can find or what it's inspired from. So I will start from the bottom, from number 10, and I will work my way up to the number 1 bestseller. So my number 10 bestseller in 2024 is these mini dinos. I just freehand them, so I don't have a pattern to share with you guys, and I didn't directly get inspired by someone else's pattern. Those I just completely freehanded out of my mind and never wrote a pattern for, but I know there's a lot of patterns for mini dinos like that out there. So that is my number 10 bestseller, and I sell them for $12 each, and I sold a total of 42 of these mini dinos in 2024. My number 9 bestseller, I guess we can say it's tied with number 10. It was a tie between these two for the same amount that I sold, are these little birdies. So the little birdies are my own pattern that you can find in my Etsy and coffee shop, and they will be perfect for Easter. I sell them also for $12 each, same as the mini dinos, and again, I sold a total of 42 little birdies in 2024, and I did start making those only in the summer. I can't remember exactly when, but I only started making them in the summer, and they did make it to my top 10 bestsellers, so if I had been making them all year round, I probably would have sold more. My number 8 bestseller in 2024 are these little bees. I sell them again for $12 each, and there is a free pattern for this little bee in my coffee shop. I say my coffee shop, but it's free. You guys can go check it out. I just released it for free in there very recently. So those little bees were my number 8 bestseller, and I sold 43 of them in 2024. My number 7 bestsellers are these mini octos. So those are, again, my own tutorial that you can find on my YouTube channel. The tutorial is called Chunky Octo Tutorial, but these mini octos, I make them with the yarn from Dollar Tree, actually. So it's, I think, Premier Just Chenille, and I sell them for $8 each or 2 for $15, along with other items that I also sell for that same price where you can get that same deal. I will talk about that further because more of those little plushies are in my top 10 bestsellers. So that is my number 7 bestseller, and I sold a total of 46 of those mini octos in 2024. My number 6 bestsellers are these chickens. So I sell those chickens for $18 each, and I sold a total of 52 of those chickens in 2024. So I don't have a pattern to share with you guys for this chicken, unfortunately. I just freehand them. I guess the base is kind of based on the Mabel chicken pattern, but as you can see, I added a little head and a tail, so it is different from the Mabel chicken pattern. I mean, I've never used the Mabel chicken pattern, so I can't tell you the stitch count or anything like that if that's the same, but the base, I guess, is the same concept, so that's why I haven't written a pattern for it. I don't really feel comfortable writing a pattern for something that's been inspired by someone else's idea without their permission. So anyways, my 6 bestsellers were these chickens. Now we're in the top 5 bestsellers. So my 5th bestseller in 2024 were these mini whales. So those mini whales are also $8 each or 2 for $15, just like those little mini octos I showed you guys earlier. And I do have a tutorial for those guys on my channel, and if you wanted the written pattern, it's also available in my Etsy and coffee shop for very cheap. So you can either use the free tutorial or go get the copy. But that's my 5th bestseller of 2024, and I sold a total of 58 of those mini whales. My 4th bestseller, now I was kind of surprised to see this one be this high up on the list, considering I only started making these in like July. So my 4th bestseller of 2024 are my hot dogs. If you've been watching my videos, you know I designed that pattern, and it went kind of viral. So my 4th bestsellers are my hot dogs. I do sell them with the basket and the napkins, so I sell them for $25 each. Of course, I have to add the cost of the basket and napkin in that price, but that is my own pattern that you can find on my Etsy and coffee shop. They sell really well. Obviously, they made it to the top 5 bestsellers of 2024, and I only started making them like halfway through the year. So had I started making them earlier, I probably would have sold more, but unfortunately my brain only blessed me with that amazing idea in July. So anyways, my hot dogs made it to the top 5 bestsellers of 2024, so I'm really happy with that. I also sold a total of 59 hot dogs, only starting in July, so that's amazing. We're now in the top 3 bestsellers. So my 3rd bestseller of 2024 are these little frogs. So the reason there's 2 pictures up here, I make 2 different kinds of little frogs. I'm sure you've recognized one of them. So I sell them again for $8 each or 2 for $15, just like the little mini whales and mini octos. So those have the same price point and you can get that deal with them too. So back to the reason there's two pictures. So one of them, of course, is inspired by the original Leggy frog, and the other one beside it that's a little round is my own pattern. I do have permission from the original Leggy frog pattern author to make that round leggy frog, don't worry. So I did get their permission to make my round leggy frog and write a pattern. So anyways, I make them kind of square like the original leggy frog, and I also make some round ones like my own pattern that you can find in my Etsy and coffee shop. So I make those two different kinds and they both sell really well. So I sold a total of 69 little frogs in 2024. I didn't keep count of whether they were like the square ones or the round ones. I just write them all as little frogs. So anyways, I knew that my little frogs were good sellers, but honestly, I'm not sure I would have even put them in my top 3. So I'm kind of surprised by that one, but they are obviously a great seller. So definitely check out the original leggy frog pattern if you haven't already. My second best seller of 2024 are chicken nuggets. Honestly, I wasn't surprised by that one. I knew that one was going to be in my top 3 probably. So I sold a total of 122 chicken nuggets in 2024, and I sell them for $8 each. And I actually have 2 tutorials on my channel for those guys, and both those tutorials, they use different weights of yarn. So one tutorial uses weight 6 yarn, which is what I use most of the time, but I also have a tutorial for them in weight 7 yarn because sometimes I do use that thicker yarn, so I thought others might too. So there's both of those tutorials available on my channel for you guys for those chicken nuggets, and they obviously sell really well. Now, my number 1 bestseller of 2024, it surpassed all the other sellers by so many. So that number 1 bestseller are keychains. So I sold a total of 214 keychains in 2024, and I sell them again for $8 each or 2 for $15, and people can mix and match with the little frogs and the mini whales and the mini octos and all that stuff. So obviously they're a very good seller. So I just make these little mini octo keychains, and they are smaller than the mini octos I was showing you guys earlier, but it is made with the same tutorial that you can find on my channel. I just use a weight 4 velvet yarn or sometimes even acrylic yarn, and they come out smaller than my mini octos, and of course I put a keyring on them, and you're all set to go, and they sell incredibly well. So those were all my best sellers in 2024. Honestly, I was surprised by some of the items like the little frogs, but I had a pretty good idea of what was going to be up there, but I did want to let you guys know how many items I sold in total at markets in 2024. So I sold a total of 1,401 items at markets that I did in 2024. I think that's amazing. I'm really happy with that. Of course, I did sell a lot of other items at consignment stores, just private sales, and my mom did do a few markets for me where she did very well, so thanks Mom for that. But yeah, so that's a total of 1,401 items I sold at markets, just me doing markets, so honestly that's amazing. So obviously you saw all of my best sellers, but I sold a lot of other items that just didn't make it to my top 10 best sellers, but of course I sold a lot of other items. So I invite you all to start a conversation in the comments, sharing your best sellers so that hopefully you can give others inspiration on what to make for this market season this year. So I don't know, I just think it would be nice if we all started a conversation in the comments, sharing all of your best sellers to share with everyone else. So I will put the links of all the patterns, tutorials, everything will be linked in the comments for you guys. And also I will link the little baskets that I sell my hot dogs in and the napkins that I put in there too. I will link all of that for you guys if you want to check it out. So just go in the description and you will find everything you need to make my top 10 bestsellers of 2024. Now I do just want to mention this before I'm done. So just because these were my bestsellers in 2024, it doesn't mean they're going to be bestsellers in 2025. And just because they sold well for me, it doesn't mean they're going to sell well for everyone else. I do hope they do sell well for everyone else if you do decide to make them. But I can't guarantee you sales, obviously, on these items. I just wanted to share those statistics with you guys in case you were kind of stuck on what to make for this upcoming market season. But things can be different from year to year, so we don't really know what's going to sell well this year. I've had a few markets so far this year, and I can tell you Little Frogs sold well so far, chicken nuggets sold well so far, and keychains sold well so far, but I can't tell you what's going to sell for the rest of the year, unfortunately, but definitely stay tuned to see what I sell at my upcoming markets. So that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was useful if you were stuck on what to make. I hope this gave you inspiration on what to make for upcoming markets. Again, I invite you to start a conversation in the comments on what your bestsellers were, and we can all share all of our bestsellers together to give us all inspiration to each other. So that will be it for me. Make sure to subscribe to see more videos like this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!